Welcome to Far More, Colorado. I am Lynn Rollins, your host today, and I have the pleasure of visiting with Tom Luehrs, the Executive Director of the St. Francis Center in Denver, Colorado. How are you today, Tom?
Good,
May I
thanks,
call
Lynn.
you Tom?
You may.
Okay, thank you. So would you start by just telling our listeners about yourself?
Sure. So, my name is Tom Luehrs. I'm the Executive Director of St. Francis Center, which is a day center in downtown Denver. I've been here for 26 years. Our organization, St. Francis Center, is 34 years old. We are an organization that works with people who are homeless, trying and assisting them in getting back on their feet, into jobs, into housing, in a variety of ways.
Okay. So is it kind of based on the individual when you say a variety of ways?
Yes, so St. Francis Center is open every day of the week, and we're open from 6 a.m. in the morning till 6 p.m. at night.
Okay.
We coordinate our services with the services of the overnight shelters so that
Okay.
there's always a place for people to be inside and safe. So when we open up, the overnight shelters are closing. When we close, they are starting to open.
Okay.
What we offer to people is, for one thing, a safe space and a place where when they come in, they can know that they are going to be safe and that they are going to be treated with respect. And one of the other things we try to do with everybody that comes with any regularity is get to know them by name. So when they come in, we can say to them, "Hi, Joe. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Lynn." And it gives them a sense of identity. It also gives them a sense of respect that we think enough of them to remember their name. So as they come in each morning, they have the opportunity to do a number of things. So if it's a shower that they need that day, they can get a shower. Clothing, they can go into our clothing room and get some clothes, pick out the clothes that they need specifically. In order to get into the clothing room, though, we ask them to do a chore around our building. So they will help us sweep the floors, pick up trash outside, maybe clean the bathrooms. And then they've earned their clothing slip, and they can come in and pick one of each item in our clothing room. I think, again, offers people a sense of, I've earned what I've worked for, kind of that dignity and respectfulness that is really primary to what we do at St. Francis Center. In addition to that, we are the mailing address for people. So at any one time, we're receiving mail for 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Wow.
A lot of people are using our services. We serve on average 750 people per day. In a year's time, over 10,000 different people come to use our services. And mail is just a way of connecting people with the people that they need or want to be connected to. So it might be a family member who's writing to them. It might be a piece of mail from Social Security if they're trying to get on disability.
Exactly.
That communication that happens. Just a way of, again, connecting them to what they will need to help them get off the streets. We also have storage for people. So people who are going to a job interview, for instance, they don't want to have to lug all their belongings along to that interview. Doesn't present a very good picture. So they are able to get a space with us. And they keep all their valuables, and sometimes those are very few, but they can keep their items with us. And it's kind of an unending agreement that we have with the person. As long as they let us know every 30 days that they still need that space, we will keep that space open for them. So it's an empowering way of helping people get to the next level, which is independence and self-sufficiency.
Yes.
And we also have the opportunity for people to meet with a counselor. So it might be somebody, they just need a little direction. So they're new to homelessness. And probably what they first need is just somebody to listen to their story about how this came about, you know, what it was like, how upset they are, and how much they just need somebody to listen to them. So kind of get that off their chest and then move along and start deciding, making decisions about how things are going to change so that they can get back into living with independence and self-respect.
Right.
So those counselors can be, you know, it's just somebody who listens to them, but also helps them find housing that will be both within their budget and also in the place where they need to be. So if they don't have a car, for instance, which a lot of people who are homeless don't, they need to be close to public transportation so that when they go, when they move, you know, get out of their house in the morning, they can go to the bus stop and take the bus to work. Things like that.
You're doing a tremendous work here, and
Thank you.
it's a 7-day work of work. I mean, it's continuous. It never stops. I want to talk about you a little bit more because
Okay.
I think it's so important to know why you have this heart and why I understand that you have been working here 26 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's a lifetime of work. But prior to that, where are you originally from, and how did you come to become the executive director?
So I grew up in the Chicago area and grew up in a family with 11 siblings.
Oh, wow.
So when it was your time to leave home, you had to do that so there'd be room for everybody else. I'm kidding. But, and I think part of that experience gave me the sense of community and people and that we took care of each other. So in a big family, the expectation is you take care of your younger siblings.
That's right.
And so I think I got that sense of care from my parents, from my older siblings who took care of me, and then knew how to do that with the younger siblings.
Awesome.
After that, I was in ministry for a while with a church, so served in an inner city church for a while, and then moved out to Denver, where I met my wife and found St. Francis Center basically because we were at a gathering, a party with some friends, and met a man who worked here, and he said, well, I think we might have an opening there.
Oh, wow.
So kind of happened upon it. And it's been certainly a real gift for me in my life to be able to be here in a good community of people who are very like-minded in terms of service and caring for others, and you know, similar values. That it's a really strong value for all of us at St. Francis Center that we treat each other and everyone that comes into St. Francis Center with the dignity that we think certainly God puts in our lives.
Exactly.
So, so it's been kind of a journey finding my way here, but it's, as you say, it's been a lifelong work here, many years, and my wife's a volunteer here because she believes in what we do here. My kids volunteer as well, and so it's kind of a family experience that. They all feel like the people here are important people. And I think that's what's been most important in my life, is to say that it's not only what you own or how much money you make,
Right.
or how big your possessions or how many they are. It's who you are as a person. And
True.
I find that each of the people that comes here, whether they happen to be homeless, or they're a volunteer, or they're one of the staff, or one of our board members, each is due the same type of respect.
Yes.
I've learned a lot from the people here. Many homeless people have taught me things. I remember one gentleman during the winter, I was right near him, and somebody came up to me and said, I need a coat, because it was like 20 degrees and pretty cold outside, and this gentleman didn't have a coat. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, this gentleman came up and said, I have an extra coat. Take this. And the gentleman did.
Yes.
And so that generosity, which people might think, homeless people, well, they have nothing, so they can't be good to another person. And yet there's this spirit of generosity that people have because they know what it means to go without.
Yes.
And when they have a little, they're willing to share it. So it's just it's a wonderful experience to see how generous people can be who have very little, and yet they count it as a gift to be able to give to others, and they know the feeling and the value. And I'd say we also see that in our volunteers, many of whom come and say, well, I've lived a good life, so I want to give to others. And many of them have come back to me and said, you know, I thought I was coming here to give, but each day I leave after volunteering, I feel like I've been blessed and I've received so much from the experience, from the people who, even in their lack of things, still have a spirit of generosity and giving that they can say to me, thank you.
Well,
So it's in that context of community. And a lot of the people who need our services here, people have suffered a lot in their lives. And people who sometimes have rough days. And so sometimes we have to ask somebody to leave for the day because they're just not in a good place. But they can always come back the next day.
Okay.
And we will say, all's forgiven and welcome back. And I think that's also part of the spirit of St. Francis Center, is that it's a place of forgiveness, that we all experience that forgiveness of one another, that who we are is more than the one single bad action we happen to have or bad word that we have that day. That I think what we try to see in each other is the goodness in each other. And that comes out in a variety of ways. Somebody who's getting a job, so part of what we offer to people is our employment office, where people can receive help in finding employment. And we were able this past year to help 495 people get full-time employment, which is a job for one thing, but it's also the freedom and the respectfulness of knowing that I can do this on my own. I'm going to make my own choices. I am in control of my life. I think that's
good to have that control, because once you realize that I have an opportunity to give back as well, like you shared with the gentleman and the coat. So that is, I can see the passion that you have for what you're doing. I saw on this slogan that says, reaching great heights from deep roots. What does that mean to you?
So that's a slogan we've used at St. Francis Center to offer people maybe an insight into what we feel like we're doing with people. And that is really trying to reach in with people who are maybe in the depths of sadness, despair, really struggling, and trying by the services we offer, but with the kindness that we offer those services, help people pull themselves up to who they are, their best
Okay.
selves. One of the things we have here are rules. And part of the number one rule is treat one another as you would want to be treated. Kind of
Now
the golden rule.
that was a golden rule my mother always told me, so I understand that. Treat people the way you want to be treated. How is the high need of housing affecting home placement in Colorado, in your opinion?
So the high cost of housing has put many people, certainly one of the major reasons that we hear from people of why they became homeless is the high cost of housing. And, you know, working at a job should allow you to provide for yourself and your family housing. But unfortunately, because of the rising costs of housing in Denver and really the state of Colorado, but certainly in
state.
Denver and Metro Denver, with costs for just a single room being, you know, $1,500–$1,600,
I know.
a lot of people just can't find those kind of jobs. You know, and some people do, but many of our people have lower skills, so they grew up being able to do a certain job.
Or a
And
trade,
yes, a trade. And many, you know, did manual labor, which is, you know, very difficult. I certainly couldn't do it. But the wages did not keep up with the cost of living, the cost of housing. So one of the programs we also have is we have built affordable housing for people.
Tell me about the housing. How many units, and are you planning more units in the future?
Yeah. So right now we have 70 apartments that people are able to get into, are in right now. And those people are people that used to live on the streets. They're now living in their own home, in their own apartment. And so we are in process of November 2017, so just
this
a few
year.
months, we'll be completing 50 additional apartments.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
And those apartments will be for people who are homeless and either singles or couples.
Oh, okay.
So they can get into the housing and, again, live that life of respectfulness and dignity.
Yes, that is so important. What is the greatest need you see in the community that you serve, other than what you've already touched on?
I would say the greatest need that people have who are homeless is just to be recognized as human beings, first and foremost, but just a little help. So a little help might be a shower during the day, but it might be somebody being willing to offer them a job, even though they happen to be homeless, and giving them a chance. So for some people, it's just getting that chance to improve their lives, to improve their situation. But just the recognition that homeless people are people who are homeless, not bad people, people who have had challenges in their lives. Just a statistic that kind of shows some of that. Last year, St. Francis Center was able to serve just over 10,000 different people.
Wow.
And 8,000 of those people left our services within 34 days or less, meaning that for many people, homelessness is a brief encounter.
And a lot of times it is a temporary transition.
Yes.
So with the status of serving that many people in the community, and you mentioned a board, are you giving grants, or how do you run this organization and have been running it for 34 plus, going on plus years?
So, good question. We have, in order to do all the services, we have the employment, the housing. We also do outreach on the streets where we're going out and talking to people who are disconnected to society and to other people. But to do all those things, we do need a lot of money because we have about 45 employees,
Okay.
plus over 300 volunteers. So we get our money primarily through donations.
I see. Okay.
And so through the goodness of others, we are able to help others.
Others.
And some of that is from the foundations in our community. Some of it is through a lot of faith communities. A lot of individuals will give us support. We'd like anybody to give us support that is willing to. And, you know, we need a lot of different things like people take showers, so we need soap and
Yeah.
shampoo.
Just the
We
basic
need
needs.
towels. Yeah. Everybody who comes to us can get a pair of socks every day, a clean pair of socks. So we need socks. We need underwear. You know, people want to
Just
be able
basic
to
things
change.
that all of us need.
Yes.
Yes.
But, you know, the gift that can be used anywhere for whatever our needs happen to be at that particular time is money. So money can buy those things. It can also help us pay our bills.
Sure.
It can help us get bus transportation tickets for people. It can fall into the take care of the need that we have, whatever that need happens to be that day.
Okay, so with that, I have another question regarding the payee program.
So our payee program is somewhat simple. People who are disabled and are on Social Security sometimes are not able to take care of themselves or the money that they get. So we become the person who helps them out. Their money will come to St. Francis Center with their name on it. We will put it in the bank and then give them money, help them pay their bills.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it's just kind of protecting them.
Are you recognized in the community by city and county of Denver since you've been here this length of time? Or do they do any type of recognition for St. Francis as well?
So the city of Denver sees us as a very important part of the community in terms of helping people get out of homelessness. So they
good.
also support us with some funding.
Okay.
That's crucial. I would say what drives St. Francis Center is basically our love for people,
Okay.
our care for people, that we feel like it's important that everybody is treated as everyone else is treated, that everybody gets a chance, that if people make mistakes, we all get forgiveness. We need to forgive other people who make mistakes and become homeless. Or is it a mistake? Or, you know, sometimes it's just they fell into a bad situation.
Sure.
You know, so I think what we're here for is to say to people, you are good, you are worthy, and we want to help you to get to where you want to be.
And it can be a temporary transition. Where you are today doesn't mean that's where you are forever.
Correct.
Nothing happens by chance. And meeting you today, listening to your story of being a sibling, of having 11 siblings, that created the atmosphere of love and sharing that you have extended all these years. I hope you're not planning to retire soon, because we need you in this community. I'd like you to give any closing words that you would like people to understand about this center and what, besides, of course, needs and the daily operations, what is the heartbeat of the staff here?
I would say one of the things that our staff always talks about is how supported they feel by this whole community. So people, it's challenging because people's lives are challenging.
Yes.
But
It's real.
Yeah, it's very real and down to earth and pretty gritty sometimes. But I think because people feel we're all doing this together, that we all share the same values, that we do it with faithfulness to what we believe, and that is that each person is of
valuable.
great worth and valuable. And knowing that, we know as we talk to each other that this is what we're all about.
That's wonderful. Well, I appreciate this time that we've had, Tom, and we will continue to expect great things from St. Francis Center.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you also for joining us on Far More Colorado.
Far More Colorado is a public affairs interview program highlighting people of interest to Coloradans. The program has guests from our state government, and we also feature a wide variety of other guests who are making a difference here in Colorado.